Alrighty, folks, so we've actually got a race here for you after all. Sorry for some technical issues off the bat there, but I am Sabotender, and I'll be joined shortly by Aaron Doby here. We're gonna get you up to speed as soon as we kind of know the deal. So right now, it looks like Ninban is already in the Dark World, checking out Thieves Town. Cowutopia has a little bit more health and is continuing to check out the Light World. Oh boy. So bow, hook shot, on Ninban's side there. This is going to be really fun to try and catch up to where our runners are here. We're 17 minutes in, so we missed a bit of the escape and Kakariko. So we'll try and piece it together as soon as we can for you, and then we'll get this one going. So Cowutopia's got no lamp here heading up Death Mountain. So that's interesting. Trying to do a sequence break here. I guess Ninban's got the boots. It's moving pretty quickly here, so that's good. We see on our tracker, our wonderful tracker, Deuceme, who is going to be doing some work to kind of catch up here. We've got the flippers on Ninban's side, so we might have seen some of the water checks already, but that'll come in handy if we need to check out Swamp Palace or Ice Palace. Cowutopia doing a good job getting through those dark rooms using just, I think it's just a hammer, which is very interesting. Only a big 20 though, so that's a little disappointing for all that effort.
Hello, hello. I'm here now too.
All right, Aaron, how's it going, man?
Hey, it's going pretty well. Looks like we have resolved our technical difficulties, and we've got a race.
Yeah. Looks like Ninban's got a couple of medallions as well. That'll come in handy if we are checking out Turtle Rock or Misery Mire.
And unfortunately, I guess our runners got their map checks in before we were able to watch.
But we might never know.
Yeah, all we know for sure is that Thieves Town is a crystal because it's playing the crystal music.
Yes. So as you folks at home there are joining us kind of in the middle of this, we are also kind of just getting started with this broadcast here. This is a 4-2 match, so there's a lot on the line here. Ninban and Cowutopia both fighting for a spot in the brackets. Both runners have come up against some pretty tough opponents to get to where they are. Ninban is top 8 from the secondary tournament from the fall. Cowutopia, kind of a newer runner to the scene, but put in some pretty good times to get where he is. So it should be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Absolutely. New runner or experienced runner. Getting to a positive record in this tournament is absolutely no joke given the overall skill of the field. So the two obviously very talented runners, and I'm looking forward to catching this race.
So we found the Quake Medallion in the Paradox Cave there. It's interesting to note that Cowutopia doesn't have a sword, and I guess Ninban doesn't either, so we're swordless at this point.
It's thankfully having a sword, or having the hammer, sort of softens the blow of not having a sword a little bit, because it does deal damage equal to the tempered sword. But what you realize quickly with not having a sword is that the sword is very useful to just get things out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And also, its hitbox is much easier and quicker to deal with. As Ninban unfortunately demonstrated, dealing with blind is absolutely not easy if you don't have that sword.
Yeah, and 5 hearts green male, that's always a tough fight.
Yep. The fireballs will deal 1 damage. Any other contact with blind, his heads, or his laser beams will do 2. That's not a lot of room for error.
So now that Cowutopia is up here, having sequence broken the cave to get up to Death Mountain, he's able to get all the way over to Tower of Hera here. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anything kicking around here. We've got the red boomerang as our first item.
Deciding to pick it up, which not all runners would have done, I think. It's interesting. There's some opinions about the use of the red boomerang. Legs the game a little bit. It flies very fast, so it's harder to do some of the more useful setups with it, just because it gets to a wall and bounces really quick.
Mm-hmm. I find that sometimes I just pick up the boomerang for menuing purposes. It makes it a little bit smoother, I think, sometimes to navigate the menu.
That is true. It's one of the things that is not always apparent if you only watch a lot of these races and don't play the game yourself, is that dealing with the menu in certain seeds where you have certain strange combinations of items very early is awkward.
Yeah.
And having items to fill in those gaps can help quite a bit.
So let's get a hype cave check here. Big 20 from the Fox Thief himself. Bit more money. The first sword. A little more money. It's a bunch of couch cash and then a sword. So that's not all bad.
I mean, on average, that's decent.
Yeah. So we're seeing that our pendants are Swamp and Turtle Rock, and the green pendant is Skull Woods. Ooh, map check on Cowutopia's side there. The 5-6 crystals are Tower of Hera and Ice Palace.
So, seeing Turtle Rock being a pendant is kind of nice for the runners in a couple of different ways. One, because maybe you just don't have to go there and it's an annoying and difficult dungeon. And 2, Turtle Rock and Misery Mire, if they're one or both of them are pendants, that really reduces the chance of having a pedestal seed, just because so much is required to get into and through those 2 dungeons.
Mm-hmm. So we've got Cowutopia checking out Skull Woods now. I'm not sure if Ninban might have already checked in here. We'll have to see. Ooh, interesting.
We'll find out.
Ninban hasn't done South Shore yet. Very interesting.
So that must have been very early Moon Pearl, or maybe an early Bow, and you went to Eastern first.
Yeah. Or I wonder if we got like Dark World access in Kakariko, and he just decided to check out Thieves Town. Was like the first thing that we saw him doing here. It was his first little venture into the Dark World right away, kind of.
Yeah, it must have been pretty early because we saw that he was in Thieves Town at around the 15, 16 minute mark, which is very, very quick.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is kind of good for us because these are a lot of things that we would have missed 20, 15 minutes into most races.
Yeah, we get to like wildly speculate on a lot of things that could be happening. So Ninban picks up the shovel here in Mini Moldorm, and Cowutopia already has that, so he's already been to the South Shore area. Whether or not Cowutopia's checked that shovel spot yet, we don't know.
And of course, we're going to finish the South Shore checks with the Ice Rod Cave. Ah, there's the bow. Cowutopia just found it in the chess game.
Ah, okay.
So it seems like we're in a situation where our two runners are kind of retracing each other's steps.
It seems like it feels like Ninban probably ducked into the Dark World right away, whereas Cowutopia did a lot of Light World stuff first, and so now we're kind of seeing them switch places here.
I see people asking in chat if we're reading chat.
Oh yeah, we're here. So what's in the waterfall cave here? Ooh, Ninban is making use of the bottle here.
Money saved! Free green
Nice.
potion.
Just a piece of heart on the ledge there, and not bothering to go to Zora. Maybe he doesn't have the cash for it. Yes, he's a little bit shy.
He's short 19 rupees. He might have been hoping to pick some up in the waterfall cave on the way there.
That seems likely, yeah. So Ninban's got the boost, but Cowutopia doesn't. I'm wondering where those were.
It's a good question. One of those things that certainly helps you a little bit, and the longer you have it and your opponent doesn't, just the more of an advantage it gives you to just be able to go very fast.
Definitely. Ooh, we're getting the shovel spot check. Ninban trying to blend in with his fellow guards there, but they weren't buying it. Just a couple of bombs. That's too bad.
At least Hyro's a little bit safer now.
So now we've got Ninban heading over to Eastern Palace. This might have been a place that Cowutopia has already been to. It's usually
If
a
he
pretty
was
common...
there, he went there without the bow.
Oh, yeah.
And given that, the lamp.
Okay, so he hasn't been over this way then, because he tried.
Yeah.
He went up Death Mountain there without it.
Yes, indeed. And it also means he probably has not gone to Eastern Palace if he is just checking Sahasrarla's house for the first time.
Yeah.
So this will be a single dip Eastern for Ninban, and he will be able to fully clear this dungeon with no problems, given that he has a lamp and a bow.
So as we've determined, this will be a new check for us item-wise. So it'll be interesting to see what Ninban picks up here. Could be some valuable progression items.
A convenient big key. It's always nice to see that before you get to the big chest.
Yeah, I agree.
So Cowutopia is going to have a much easier time with blind, not only because he has a lot more health than Ninban did, but because he's also opting to use the much safer Kano Samaria strats.
A couple of bombs drop off of blind there. So not an item that we're looking for, but crystal dungeon nonetheless. So that's nice to knock that off.
Yep, he will not have to come back here, which is certainly a nice thing, but it's not as terrible as it could be for some dungeons because Feast Town is nice in that if you die to the boss, you don't have to walk through the whole dungeon again to get to him because he stays in his room, doesn't go back to the cell.
Yeah.
And Ninban determining that there is going to be an item in the big key chest, so he's got to go around the long way to get to it.
Two digs for the digging game. That's nice. Unfortunately, just a big 20 there.
Man, $10 a dig? That's a good rate. And Ninban finds a heart container in the big key chest. Nothing absolutely important, but certainly helpful.
So Cowutopia is heading over to Hype Cave, where we know that the first sword is found. So that'll be a nice pickup for him.
And finding the first sword is always a huge relief.
Yeah.
We can talk a lot about the difference between Master Sword and Tempered Sword, but it's definitely not as big as the difference between having no sword and having the Fighter Sword.
Yeah, swordless, you got to play your game entirely differently, it seems. So picking up a sword is definitely a big plus.
Fortunately, missing a quick kill on the Armos Knights from Ninban, but very good nonetheless. Gets him a crystal.
Cowutopia is heading up towards Pyramid Ledge here, I think. Might do Catfish as well, or might head back and do Pod after this.
Yep, it could go either way. A minor historical question from chat: why is it called Hype Cave? Back when we first started doing tournaments of this, that used to be an extremely high-value location. You would almost always find at least one, often 2, 3, or 4 very valuable items in that place. Since then, the randomization algorithm has changed, so that is not that great, but it still retains its name back from those days.
Yeah, all the way back in what, like version 18, I think.
Yeah,
We're
18.
Version 29 now.
18 is when the tournament started.
Some pod sync going on here. Ninban has the advantage of having those boots, though. I wonder where those were.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Especially given that Cowutopia has retraced a lot of the steps we've already seen Ninban do and has not found them yet. Super Bunny Cave is called Super Bunny Cave because it's the easiest place to do the Super Bunny glitch that allows you to open chests and do other things without the Moon Pearl in the Dark World. You can often just do it without even noticing you did it. Like, I performed it by accident and just like kind of forgot I wasn't supposed to be able to open chests as a bunny. I was just doing it.
It's funny because in the randomizer, you don't really see a Super Bunny Cave actually live up to its name. Most people generally have the Moon Pearl by the time they get up there.
Yep, that's the thing about an item that gates like half the game or more, is that you're going to have to find it earlier rather than later. Mire Shed is called Mire Shed because it's obviously a piece of Misery Mire that it just shed and fell off to the side.
If we keep going this way, we're going to have to name every single location in the game, I think.
Alright, no further questions.
Yeah, sorry, we're done. Those beetles making it kind of difficult for Ninban to get back over to that side. He's going to have to reset the room there.
Just like Moldorm will sometimes do to you, you jump down that ledge and just get rejected by the enemies down there. Oh yeah, always feel free to ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question unless you're asking a dumb question on purpose, which you weren't.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Book of Medora. So that's the first interesting item we've seen in pod here. That looks to be our access into Desert Palace at this point. We can't check out what's on the... we can't actually get the items that are on the Ether Tablet or Bombos Tablet at this point because we don't have the Master Sword or higher, but we'll be able to at least read the tablets and see what they say.
Yep. It's also worth noting that it's potentially access to Desert Palace that they wouldn't have got otherwise. It's possible that something like the flute or the mirror might be inside there, and you'll need that book to get in.
Ninban also picking up a second sword upgrade there, or a second sword.
We were just talking about how they're not going to be able to get the items out of the tablets, but yeah, now they will be. Also, not just the boots, but another thing that's going to make Cowutopia's time in pod a little bit harder is, as you can see, he did not get the lamp from Sahasrala's house. So he's doing these difficult rooms in the dark.
Yeah, I think Cow's got the skills to take it on, so that's good. But yeah, that lamp is always something to look for. It will definitely make a run easier on you.
Yeah, I think no matter how good you are, being able to see will let you do the rooms quicker.
Yeah.
So it certainly helps even if you don't absolutely need it.
Pretty good turtle room from Ninban there.
Now it's time for the boss, Helmsor King. 17 strikes to the face with a hammer will break the mask, and then a few more hits to the face will finish him off. So trying to get him with the hammer and Master Sword spins. Just need 4 of those in any combination, and it's over. Easy peasy.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Interesting to note that Cowutopia did back out of Palace of Darkness. I think that last couple rooms, the last couple rooms in the basement of Pod there are very tricky. So I don't blame him for not wanting to venture in there.
Yeah, I think that the turtle room in Pod is probably the most difficult dark room in the game.
Yeah, especially without Fire Rod to light one of those torches there. I mean, you're swinging at whatever kind of comes your way there, and that's really hard to tell sometimes where those turtles are.
It is not easy, and even with Blue Mail, doing it with 10 hearts is not safe at all.
No way. So Ninban's taking that book right over to Desert Palace, which makes a lot of sense.
It's a very quick dungeon. It's got 2 items. It's actually really good density as far as dungeons in this game go.
Yeah. And with the boots here, there's going to be no doubt that Ninban will be able to get through this dungeon, even if the key is on the torch in the next room over. Grabbing that small key first, going to check out what's on the right side first, though.
Yep, 2 chests over here to check. Usually one of the 2 items is here, but not always.
Well, the big key was over here, so that was important. But yeah, still 2 items to be found here. So Cowutopia probably a little bit annoyed that he found the lamp after he had just stumbled through all those dark rooms in Pod. But at least moving over to Eastern Palace will be able to finish this dungeon off right away.
I think those of us who have played this game at all before, we all know the feeling of finding something right after you really could have used it.
Yeah. So we saw nothing of value on the desert ledge there, so Ninban's going to head right to Lamolis here.
There's some discussion in chat about whether or not it would be fun to play this game like not as a speedrunner, just play through it casually. And the answer is absolutely yes. If you like playing Link to the Past, definitely try the randomizer just for fun. You don't need to do it fast. There's been a lot of effort put into making this accessible to everybody, even those who might not know all the tricks that you see the speedrunners using. Many of them aren't required, and some of the more obscure interactions are explained by signs and NPCs in the game. So definitely give it a shot, even if you don't plan to do it fast or to race.
So Ninban heads into the Lamolis fight. Pulls out the bow. This will be interesting if he goes for this.
Doing it the NMG way, using the bow against Lamolis.
Ah, is that an NMG thing? Nice.
Yep. Fortunately, the best item you can get in Vanilla versus Lamola 1 is the Ice Rod, but that's so far out of the way that you don't get it this early in NMG, so you use the bow instead, which is the second best thing.
Right, I guess because normally you'd be here with just fighter's swords, so that would make the bow the best weapon for sure.
One boss down and another one starting up on Cowutopia's side versus the Armos Knights.
Missed just a couple of shots there, but all in all, not too bad. Agina's Cave just holding a big 20.
Yep, one of those locations that takes just a little bit longer than you really want it to.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you see the best runners save and quit instead of walking back out. It's just a little bit too long of a walk. It's actually not worth it.
So with Pod still fresh in his memory there, Cowutopia is going to head back in and get some revenge on that dungeon now that he's got the lamp in hand.
Yep, no reason not to do it. You are right there.
Yeah, and then you can just be done with this part of the world.
And a well-timed hammer blow to the pterodactyl. Those guys are really annoying, and they don't stop chasing you.
Yeah, they really mess you up too.
Ninban is going on his first visit to Death Mountain.
See a small shield on the top of Spectacle Rock there, and big 20 inside, so not going to be going for that.
Yep, not much value there, but with the hookshot and hammer, he'll be able to go all the way around to Tower of Hera the long way. But the long way with lots of treasure chests.
And while Cowutopia did take a step into Tower of Hera, did not have the lamp at the time, and it is fire blocked. So Ninban will have to head into the basement of Hera to pick up the big key and finish the dungeon off.
Yes, neither runner has found the mirror yet, and we don't even know if the mirror is actually required at this point. Given that Swamp Palace is a pendant, it's entirely possible the mirror might be sitting in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, and also seeing as we've seen the book, so we have our access to Desert Palace that way. It's likely that the mirror won't be required for this seed unless there is something maybe kicking around in Swamp Palace.
Cowutopia having no trouble getting through Pod the second time, getting right to the Helmslor King. Only a tiny shield from the gods. A very good Helmslor King fight from Cowutopia.
Yeah, definitely. So looking at the our runners' items here, what we're looking for is really Fire Rod and the flute at this point. Those are the only...
Yeah, I think that's all we're going to need.
I mean, we could even skip on Fire Rod if you wanted to get just use the lamp in GT.
Yes, it's true. With Bombos, you don't need the Fire Rod for Ice Palace, and Skull Woods is another pendant, so no need to use the Fire Rod there unless you need to get to Mafula for some reason. Though it is worth pointing out that, at least logically, some of Ganon's tower basement is locked behind the Fire Rod, though it is possible with a well-timed and slightly difficult bomb jump you can get through there with just the lamp.
Yeah, so I guess if either of our runners feels comfortable with just skipping out on that and attempting that bomb jump, if it came down to it on the, I think it's on the right side, isn't it?
Yes, on the right side.
So if they feel like gambling, then we might not even need the Fire Rod at all. So flute for go mode, possibly.
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 As chat points out, yeah, we also need to find the Titan's Mitt still.
Right.
Those are always required for every seed because you need them to get to Ganon's tower at all. Trolldorm living up to his name. Fortunately, giving Ninban a very unfriendly pattern and getting him right off the platform.
That's Trolldorm 2, Ninban, nothing right now. Finally gets him down there.
Going with the slightly different strat of using Master Sword spins instead of the hammer, they do equivalent damage. It's often just a matter of preference whether you do one or the other in this case, and you decided to change strategies, and it paid off.
Yeah, I find that if Moldorm's pattern like works out well, then Hammer is like lightning quick, but the spins are a little bit slower and maybe a little bit safer.
Yeah, the main difference is that the spins protect you a little more because you'll often bounce off Moldorm instead of taking damage, which gives you a little more control, and their hitbox stays out for longer, which means they can be slightly easier to hit with. Oh, there's the mirror.
So, like it's like not fun that they found that Ninban has found that now, because that does open up Swamp Palace and all of its many chests and long hallways of nothingness.
Yeah, with an item like the mirror, it gates a lot of the game. If you don't know that it's required, sometimes finding it can just feel bad because it feels like the end of the game just got a little farther away.
Yeah, because I mean, I imagine that Ninban was thinking like, oh, it's flute. Flute's all I need and I'll be good. And now with this mirror, it's like I have so many more locations to check now.
And it looks like he's going to put it to use right away, probably checking Cave 45 here.
That's a pretty good bet. That's a good one to check first.
Nothing but cash.
Money hanging around there, yeah. So he might check Bombo's tablet, and then if he doesn't find anything there, might dip into Swamp at this point.
Yeah, then in Cave 45 comes from a map that was distributed with early versions of the randomizer that was somewhat popular, that just put the number 45 next to that cave. Like, it put numbers next to all the caves, but that one was 45, and no one had a catchier name for it than that. I sometimes tell people it's because there are 4 bushes outside it in the light world and 5 hearts inside, but I just made that up.
So Ninban not quite ready to dive into Swamp Palace. This might be... Is this a... What's he doing? Oh, he's probably doing his Pyramid Ledge and Catfish checks?
Yep. Yeah, you do not need the Fire Rod to go up the tower in Gen's tower. It's totally possible and considered in logic to do it with only the lamp. There's only the right side basement torch puzzle logically requires the Fire Rod.
So meanwhile, Cowutopia finished off Moldorm, no problem there, which is great. Moving on over to the Spiral Cave. A little bit slower for him because he does not have the boots, but he will be rewarded with the mirror.
Yes, you can do the room with the 4 torches and the crumbling 4 with the lamp. The fire hitbox from the lamp reaches out farther than it looks like it does. It can go right over the gap. Cowutopia picks up a mirror not long after Ninban does.
Ooh, and so now Ninban has the cash for Zora, so he is going to pay the big fish here.
And we still have the mystery of where these boots are. Ninban is getting to run around all over Hyrule, and Cowutopia is stuck walking.
I don't think Cowutopia did dip into Skull Woods, but I don't know. Did he go all the way to the back? That one other chest that he could reach?
I don't recall. It is possible that might be where the boots are hiding.
That's the only thing I can think of from what we've seen so far. Oh, so I guess we got our lumberjack cave check there, and just a couple of boots or a heart piece, something, or it's a couple of bombs. Sorry, or nothing of value at least.
Yeah. Oh, nothing worth going to egging him over.
No, that's for sure. So Ninban maybe thinking to do Thieves Town here just to finish that off.
Yes, he did get turned away by Blind the first time because he was very under-equipped for the boss fight. So we might just go in there, grab the crystal while he's in the area.
Yeah, and he's likely using this time to just try to think about next moves. You know you've got this boss fight to do, so you're just kind of on autopilot. But in the meantime, you're kind of thinking about where the next location you want to go might be.
Yep, it is a strategy that you'll see some runners employ, and it's definitely helpful just to do something you don't need to think about for a while to give yourself some time to think about what you need to do next.
And I think Cowutopia is taking that mirror to a location that I definitely like to check, and that is the graveyard ledge.
Fortunately, without the boots, he can't also check King's Tomb, which is a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
Yep, and that blind fight went much more smoothly, picking up his 3 bomb prize and another crystal. That is 5 for Ninban.
Yeah, so now he's locked out of the remaining dungeons that he can do, unless he decides to go for Swamp Palace. Just a big 20 in the Graveyard Ledge there, by the way.
Swamp Palace is the only dungeon he can get to now. The rest require the Titan Smith.
So Ninban's going to give us the Graveyard Ledge check, but he will also have the advantage of checking the King's Tomb. And if that has something big in it, that's going to put Cowutopia at a big disadvantage.
Yep. I mean, you're losing a little bit of time all the time if you don't have the boots and your opponent does, but in those occasions where the boots lock something like that, that can be an even bigger deal.
Yeah, I mean, the number of times I've seen Titan's Mitts in this King's Tomb location, like, it'd be a bummer if it turns out that's the case for Cowutopia.
Yep. One of the things about a randomizer like this is that often the item that you use to get the location in vanilla is hidden in that location, and you have to use one of the alternate routes. And there are the boots. And Cowutopia got them from Sick Kid.
I'm pretty sure I saw someone in chat call that. That's a pretty good call.
Yep. Yeah. You gotta feel a little bit bad about that, finding the boots in a location that was open very early in the game, because when that happens to you, whether or not it's actually true, it's always in the back of your head that, like, oh, my opponent probably had this since the beginning of the seed, and now I'm in trouble.
Yeah, and it's likewise with that lamp placement. You know, back in Sashralla's hut there. I mean, that's open to you at the beginning of the game, and if you leave it for so long, you think, oh my god, it's been here the whole time.
Yeah. It's often very important just to like try not to get it into your own head like that. Yeah, it's important to think about how far ahead or behind your opponent might be so that you can gamble appropriately, but you don't want to make yourself feel bad about it because that's only going to hurt your play.
Oh yeah, because I mean, like tilt in Rando is very real. Where if you start to if mistakes maybe compound themselves a little bit, you start to really get into your own head, and that's just not the way you want to be playing.
The Ninban is going through the Swamp Palace. Again, it's a Pendant dungeon, so it's not necessarily required, but there are 6 items in here, the most from any dungeon in the game besides Ganon's Tower. But despite that, it's a very long dungeon, a slow dungeon. It's a little bit annoying to get through, so coming here early is often considered a gamble for that reason. It'll be interesting to see if Ninban chooses to go to the left side first or decides instead to skip it and go straight to Argus.
Yeah.
Many runners, if they're only one item away from go mode, will go to the back because there are more chests there and a higher density of chests at that. It looks like that's what he's going to do. So if you're just missing one item and then you can leave, it makes more sense to go back here most of the time, but unfortunately, if it's not here and he has to go back and check left side, that does end up making the dungeon as a whole take longer.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, if you come to Swamp early enough, you're usually committed to full clearing it, and you'll do the left side first, but any time later in the game that you come up to this dungeon, you'll usually want to go back first and leave that left side for any last minute. Oh, there's our Titan's Mitts.
All right, one of the pieces of the puzzle. Now, for real this time, it's flute for go mode.
Yes, indeed.
Now, with the Titan's Mitt, you can get to Ice Palace and you can get to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that opens up a fair bit. So it's kind of too bad that they picked up Titan's Mitts first and instead of the flute first, because it does open up a lot more locations to start checking first. But yeah, a lot of locations. We've actually also picked up both invincibility items, so that brings Spike Cave into logic as well.
Yes, indeed. But the thing is, the flute blocking only a very specific part of the game, being the Misery Mire area, means that it could really be anywhere else. So that's something that you got to keep in mind, is that now pretty much the whole game is open to them, and they're looking for this one item that doesn't really have a whole lot of rules on where it can be placed.
I mean, my first thought is that darn Pendant Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I mean, like Swamp Palace, it's a valuable dungeon. It has 5 items, but also like Swamp Palace, it's long and a little annoying and considerably more difficult than the other dungeons in the game.
So I think this is pretty solid that Cowutopia has decided to dip into Swamp Palace as well. He's behind because he hasn't done Desert Palace, but by coming here, picking up the Titan's Mitts, you know, it'll kind of level the playing field in a way, in that he'll be able to check some locations. Maybe Ninban misses one and he goes for Hookshot Cave or something, and he could be right back in this.
Yeah, absolutely. The race is still close enough that, you know, it's going to be far more important to see who finds the flute first than it is that Ninban has finished Desert Palace and Cowutopia has not. And meanwhile, Ninban making a very sensible play and taking those Titan's Mitts and going straight to a crystal dungeon.
Yeah, this is also one of the 5-6 crystals. So if after finishing this dungeon, that'll open up the Pyramid Fairy for him. So that is 2 more items that might be able to house the flute.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, Cowutopia faking us out with the save quit, and then again.
He's not sure what he wants to do. It looks like he's going to go back up and check left side now, instead of fighting Argus and getting sent back outside.
This is an interesting gamble because we saw Ninban just like peace out of the dungeon after taking care of Argus.
Yeah, if the flute is on the left side, that is going to be a big deal.
Because it's going to be one of the last places that Ninban is going to want to go back to.
Yeah, but not only because, you know, I've already been there, I don't want to go there again, but just because it takes so long to get to.
Yeah, and with those Titan's Mitts, I mean, you've got Turtle Rock on the table. Oh,
What?
oh,
He's just not doing it.
oh man! You know, you were so close. You should have. I really hope that he would have gone for it. That would have been really interesting to see what was on that left side.
Man. Yeah, I don't think either of our runners checked the left side, and I believe we know that there's at least one item there.
I think
I'm pretty
so.
sure we found either the map or the compass along the way. But even if we should know, like, Cowutopia definitely doesn't. Oh man.
Yeah. I guess he's hoping that he finds something up here on Dark Death Mountain.
All of a sudden, I'm feeling a lot more tense.
I know, me too.
Yeah, Ascapal751 says in chat, Cowutopia almost certainly feels behind at this point. These are the kinds of plays you make when you're feeling really behind and you're feeling desperate to make up what you perceive to be lost ground.
Yeah, he was definitely weighing out that decision there in Swamp Palace, like the time loss it would take to go do left side.
Ah, the Tempered Sword and Hookshot Cave for Cowutopia. That's going to be a big help.
Ooh, and he's going for the floating island here.
Yeah, I think we saw another sword upgrade up there earlier, so he wants the gold sword.
Seeing as we haven't found silvers yet, I guess he's thinking if we have to do a silverless Ganon fight, gold sword's the best one to go with.
I mean, I guess, but it's not really that big a help because you're going to be doing spin attacks with Tempered Sword anyway, so it's all the same.
That is true.
I mean, it does help, especially with bosses before Ganon, such as Trinex and Vitreous if you decide to use the sword against it.
So this will be our first look at Spike Cave here. Cowutopia is giving us like all the overworld checks that opened up with that Titan's Mitt.
Now, Silverless Ganon is 12 spins either way.
Wow. So there we go. The flute is in Spike Cave.
Wow. So there it is. Yeah, crazy.
So as long as Cowutopia knows that he could get through Ganon's tower without the fire rod, then, I mean, he's in go mode and he's able to get through 3 dungeons in go mode, including Ice Palace here.
Yeah, this is going to be big. Of course, we do know that Cowutopia is behind 1 dungeon, but now he can just start knocking them out and catching up. And it's hard not to say that Cowutopia might have just got the advantage. We don't know how long it's going to take for Ninban to get over there.
I mean, finding nothing in Ice Palace here, he's not going to have too many places to check. But, I mean, he might take the bait and go into Turtle Rock before doing Spike Cave.
I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, going to Turtle Rock without Fire Rod is usually not a huge deal because it's rare that you will get very far in Turtle Rock without the Fire Rod, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes you get all the way to Laser Bridge without the Fire Rod and still find nothing, and that really feels bad.
Yeah. Ooh, bottle of blue goo in the mire shed there. That's a nice safety to have.
Yeah, it's a very helpful pickup, especially if you're going to be going through GT and fighting Ganon without the silver arrows.
So Ninban notches his 6th crystal. Now, again, he also did Ice Palace because it is one of our 5/6. He probably is going to check out Pyramid Fairy as well. So he does have a lot of locations to check before he might get over to Spike Cave.
I mean, if he does go to Pyramid Fairy, you know, we might find the silvers there, and that would actually be really interesting.
Yeah.
It'd also be interesting if Ninban does some extra checks and ends up finding Fire Rod.
Mm-hmm.
Though, judging by the way he's going, he's probably going to check Hookshot Cave, get his sword. I don't know if he's going to get Gold Sword or not, but I can't imagine him not going to Spike Cave after that. Just depends on, you know, if he's going to check Turtle Rock first or not.
Yeah. What could trip him up is the Turtle Rock bait, but other than that, I think he'll probably check Spike Cave before he would consider going into Turtle Rock.
I mean, we'll see, because again, without Fire Rod, a lot of the time you'll just check the 1 chest in Turtle Rock and, you know, be done with it. And it might be on his mind that that's probably what's going to happen, so it'll probably not be a big time sink to check it. Yeah, Cowutopia certainly wants something else. I'm sure the Fire Rod is on his mind, and I know he wouldn't mind having silvers either. So he's still checking locations, but he's definitely making the moves to go through the dungeons quickly. Yeah, Ninban choosing not to get the gold sword, and is instead going to Turtle Rock, it seems.
So for his sake, we would like to see him, I guess, get locked out sooner rather than later. But if he does manage to get a key in that first chest and get a little further in, this could eat up some time for him.
Yeah, we really do not, for Ninban's sake, we do not want to see a small key in the first chest here.
So Cowutopia picks up the crystal from Desert Palace and is probably going to head back into the Dark World and jump right into Mire after this.
Alright. This is a moment of truth for sure. Oh no! It's a small key.
So we need to find one more small key in the chain shop room here. And if there is another, then Ninban will be going further into the dungeon.
And we've really got to hope he gets turned around soon. Yeah, and there it is. He cannot continue further without the fire rod. So thankfully, that's all the time he lost.
Looks like Cowutopia took the time to check out Agina's cave.
He is in the area.
He's definitely thinking that Fire Rod is still an item that he needs.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I mean, like, as we kind of talked about, he's not wrong. But you know, I would at this point I would take the gamble that Big Key in Ganon's Tower is going to be either on that left side or in like Tile Room.
Yeah.
You know, just play the odds, especially if you're up against an opponent like Ninban. You know, Cowutopia kind of felt like a bit of an underdog going into this one. Maybe go for a bit of a gamble at the end here.
Man, I really hope that Cowutopia knows that you can get up the tower without the fire rod, and that is considered in logic. He probably does. But he is looking really hard for that fire rod. He might be just gambling really hard on that 4 in 22 chance that the fire rod's going to be required. Again, required in quotes because you can do a bomb jump to skip it, but it's a difficult bomb jump that I don't know if either of our runners are comfortable doing that.
Yeah, so Cowutopia's given us the blacksmith's purple chest, hammer peg stuff here, which makes sense. You know, if you're still looking for an item, this is a good place to check now that the Titan's mitts are in hand.
Meanwhile, Ninban is going to go straight over and start working on his 7th and final crystal. I mean, and this is not game over for Cowutopia, and indeed, if Fire Rod is on the right, and Ninban doesn't want to do the bomb jump, then this will end up paying off for him. But
yeah.
Man, the chances seem a little slim at this point.
And given that Fire Rod is, I guess, only required for that that one little part of Ganon's tower. It could, I mean, the fire rock could be in there on the left side of Ganon's tower.
It could be, absolutely. It does seem like Cowutopia is going to Misery Mire, so at least he's going to be making some progress.
Yeah, done a couple of checks and figures. Okay, let's just knock another crystal off here. Ninban using his last ounce of magic to get through that torch room there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was exactly as much magic, because I don't think the magic meter shows empty unless you are literally at 0 magic points. There's the big key.
Ninban momentarily running past the door he needed there. I often forget that this is like kind of the way you can get to Vitreous.
Yeah. I think a lot of runners have the experience of Misery Mire mostly being muscle memory and not really having the mental map of this place, because it is really confusing. So sometimes if you have to go against the usual route, you have to stop and think for a second. Think, oh wait, which of these doors is the one that gets me to where I need to go? There are a lot of them. Ninban accidentally placing his Samaria block in the wrong direction, but very smoothly recovers, gets through, no problem.
I like how that Samaria block, you can just toss it from the door there, and it just bounces perfectly onto the switch.
Yep, it is a fun thing you can do. You can also, depending on where the block is, like use the Pegasus boots to kick it and have it bounce off the left wall right onto the button.
Oh, that's pretty swag.
It's pretty swag, but it's a little silly. Looks like we're gonna have cape and sword strats. Oh, the cape and dash strats versus Vitreous. It's a fun strategy to do. It's like pretty easy to do. It looks cool. It's effective. Why not? 8 arrows to the big eyeball finishes him off. Quick and easy. Ninban holds up the final crystal, and he will be able to go straight to Ganon's tower, and then we're going to learn a very important truth about where the big key is.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of interesting.
Speaking of the big key, we do have a game we play here on Speed Gaming. Please go ahead and put a number from 1 to 22 into chat, which is your guess on which chest the big key is going to be in. The closest guest from a sub or supporter of the Speed Gaming channel will get a point added to the leaderboard. So get your guesses in now.
I'm going to go ahead and say that if Alpha Channel is in the chat, he's going to win, because he always seems to win this game.
Yeah, he is number 1 on the leaderboard right now.
What do you think, Aaron? What are we going to see it on the left side?
I think we're going to see it on the left side. I'm going to go with 14, which is usually Bob's chest.
Ah, nice. I usually go for one of the rando room chests, so I'm going to go with 11 today.
Okay.
It'd be really interesting, I suppose, if the big key was on the right side, if Ninban decides to go for that bomb jump. I feel like he probably could pull it off, but I wonder if he feels comfortable doing that in a race situation.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of the top racers are aware of and have practiced, but it isn't applicable very often. So who knows how comfortable they are with it. Alright, the guesses are slowing down. As soon as Ninban walks through the door, we're going to stop the guessing game.
Meanwhile, Cowutopia with that gold sword doing the cape and sword strats even faster. Very nice.
There's one. There's two. And there's three. We do have a mushroom, though.
Yes. Could that be our fire rod?
It could be. The stealth is giving Ninban a little trouble here. They are annoying and very jumpy. But we've checked 7 locations so far. No big key yet.
Ooh.
Eight is not the big key.
Got enough small keys, though.
Yeah, no kidding. Here comes a 9. 9 is not the big key, but it is the fire rod.
So if there was ever any doubt, then we're good now.
$13.
He opened them in the wrong order.
Oh no.
Alrighty, so
yes,
with that,
13.
13's the winner.
So congratulations to, appropriately, the Dawn 13 for being the first sub or supporter to guess the correct answer. So now the path is clear for Ninban to just go up the tower, fight Aghanim 2, and then Ganon. So you gotta be a little careful here, he's taking a lot of damage.
Might opt to take a little safety in the fairy room there. Unless he's got a bunch of bottles. He's gonna go for it.
Yep. absolutely reasonable to do this. You don't want to take chances with Ganon's tower, and I don't think Ninban has much reason to feel behind. So, absolutely the right call to take that pit stop.
Yeah, and wouldn't want to use the blue goo that he's got there in the event that, when he gets to the Ganon fight, it's going to be silverless most likely. Don't want to run out of magic while you're in that fight.
Indeed. Yeah, I think, again, this is a 4-2 match, and I don't think you get 4 wins in this tournament without at least being comfortable with doing a silverless Ganon fight, especially with the Tempered Sword.
I really hope that Cowutopia decides to go mode this dungeon, knowing now where the fire rod is. There's not going to be anything here for him, so it'd be nice to see if he just goes right to the boss.
Cowutopia is checking additional locations, but he might opt not to continue further into the dungeon and just go to the boss here. But no, he's going to finish it. He's going to continue looking for probably the fire rod. Homokyo, no, we do not have access to the seed information. Again, Race ROMs, as Sports Cafe says, do not make a spoiler log. We're not privy to that information. We're finding things out exactly as you are.
So Ninban not checking any chests along the way here. Those could be quick chests to check for silver arrows, but he feels comfortable enough at this point.
Yep, might as well just go for it.
Oh, well, that's a nice heart piece to pick up there.
Very, very timely life refill. Now time for the geometry test. Very nice first round. Gets a triple. That's 4. 6.
No problem.
No, you can't kill the bat early, Ninban. Sorry. I'm hungry for breakfast. On to phase 2.
Already on to phase 3.
Yep. With Tempered Sword, it goes quick.
Meanwhile, we should note that Cowutopia has finished off his final crystal.
Alright, let's hope he goes right to Ganon's tower. Successful torch glitch on Ninban's side.
It's a pretty important part of the silverless Ganon fight.
Yeah, especially without half magic. If you have to manage both torches, not only does the fight take a lot longer, but you run a real danger of just running your magic meter dry. But the silvers were in Skull Woods, meaning that you weren't going to get them before going to Ganon's tower anyway.
Yeah.
That's it. Super clean phase 4 from Ninban. Very nice fight. And Ninban crosses the door, finishes with an official Speed Racing TV time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 57 seconds.
Yeah, so put your GGs in the chat for Ninban. He is moving on to the bracket stage at 5 and 2. He let me know ahead of time that he wasn't going to be on mic today, unfortunately. So he's going to jump into chat, I think, at some point. So hopefully we'll keep an eye out for him there.
Yes, indeed. Congratulations. And with that, Ninban secures a 5-2 record and a spot in the bracket stage of this A Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. Hello, Ninban and GG.
Yeah, that didn't take him long at all.
Meanwhile, Cowutopia is just opening the door to Ganon's tower. Yeah, that's a question I would like an answer from Ninban on is if the big key was on the right side and he didn't have Fire Rod, would he have done the jump to get there, or would he have been looking for the Fire Rod instead?
Yeah. Knew the theory behind that bomb jump.
Yeah, that's a scary thing. I mean, sometimes that's just enough and you can pull it off, but that's a bomb jump with tricky positioning and a lot of things to knock you away from it, because there's a conveyor belt, Medusa, and the Wallmaster all there ready to ruin your day.
Yes, I'm glad that Cowutopia decided to go right into Ganon's tower, and instead of looking around for the Fire Rod in other locations. As we know, it's in chest 9 here.
So Ninban has done it before. It's just been a while.
It's one of those ones that, like, you rarely have to perform, so you wouldn't put a lot of time into practicing it.
Exactly. But yeah, Ninban, any words on making it to a 5-2 record and therefore the bracket stage? It was a Pax Sphere 1 that unfortunately we did not get to see.
Yeah, no, I was trying to put the pieces back together there. That was fun. see, Cowutopia opened the chest in the right order. Then I would have been right.
Oh, well. Fortunately, there are no points in that.
No.
Prentice Firmus, there is indeed an old man sprite. You can play as the old man.
I really want someone to do an Uncle Sprite. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, the Uncle Sprite would be good. I think a lot of the NPCs in this game would make great sprites. Like the Bridge Hobo, the Running Man, and Kakariko.
Mm. So Cowutopia making his way up the tower here. Saw a nice key dash there. That was pretty good. It's one of those things that you know, you don't really know you can pull off. You know, as a runner kind of starting out, I didn't realize that was even a thing. But yeah, it looks pretty cool when you pull it off well.
Yeah, that key dash is actually really, really easy to do. All you have to do is not touch the D-pad when you enter the room and just hold A. You can do the dash right from where you spawn in that hallway, and you'll get the key dash every time.
Yeah, I would constantly bonk into that door, but I finally figured out how it works.
Yep, all you got to do a key dash successfully is start your dash a multiple of 4 pixels away from the door. And for many, if not most of the locked doors where a key dash would make sense, there's some kind of setup nearby, like a railing or a treasure chest you can line yourself up on. So a lot of them are pretty easy to do, you just gotta know how to do them.
It's a pretty good gauntlet from Cowutopia here.
Especially that last room of the gauntlet can be major trouble, but he got through without any problems at all.
Yeah, even without using fire rod or silver arrows, because we don't have those. But yeah, good use of hookshot to freeze that Stelphos there as well.
Not only does that make the Stelphos stop moving, it more importantly makes it stop jumping.
Ugh, yeah. Ooh, just missing that one Wizrobe by a little bit there.
Yep. Fortunately, I think the fireball got caught on the moving spike trap there before it got to the Wizrobe.
Mm.
And it sure is nice having the fire rod so that you can do that.
Yeah. All in all, Ninban's stat line there looks pretty good for a run of this length.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty solid menu time, pretty low collection rate. So yeah, all in all, very nice.
And 140 is definitely a respectable time, and a low collection rate too. More importantly, is really good in a randomizer race because that means you had to do less, which means that you probably took less time to do it.
I wish they'd bring back the screen transitions counter. I liked that.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
I feel like I'm really bad at routing, so seeing if my screen transitions are high, then that means I got to do a little bit better on that kind of stuff. I waffle, I go back and forth a lot to different locations for no good reason. That's why I'm so bad at this game.
Oh, I think you do raise a good point, though, in that a lot of importance in playing this game is being decisive and not like backing out of a choice you made as you're making it. It's often best to just like pick something to do instead of spending a lot of extra time thinking or second guessing yourself, because I mean you still don't know if that choice ended up being the right one anyway.
Mm-hmm. And Aga 2 goes down.
Only the final battle left for Cowutopia.
So all going well, this should be a sub 155, which is still a pretty respectable time for a run like this. We had some goofy item locations that definitely threw our runners for a bit of a loop. So I think 155 will be a pretty good time here.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a very strange seed, to say the least.
It seemed like it was fairly linear, but there were a couple of like quirks along the way that made it a little bit less clear what you're supposed to do. I guess that's kind of par for the course with most randomizer seeds you get. So already into phase 3, that butter sword making quick work of the first 2 phases there.
Yep, no problem. The butter sword makes the first 2 phases simple. Only 6 slashes, which she can certainly do before Ganon starts his next cycle. Gets the torch glitch easy. Now just 12 spins to finish it off.
Really nice silverless fight going so far here.
Yep. Just gotta bait those fire bats out and just get close and spin, which Cowutopia has been doing a very good job of so far.
I think just one more. Feels like it at least.
Yep, you counted correctly. That was the 12th hit, and Cowutopia will be finishing the Ganon fight. Get your GGs in chat for Cowutopia as he finishes the race with an official speed racing TV time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 32 seconds.
So we'll see if we can pull in Cowutopia for a quick interview before we wrap anything up here. So all in all, a pretty good race. Cowutopia falling to 4 and 3 is not going to make the brackets, but considering that fairly new runner in the community, I think should be pretty happy with how he did.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said closer to the beginning of this restream, you get a positive record in this tournament. A tournament this stacked with this much talent, that's nothing to be ashamed of. And speaking of, it looks like he's here, so we will pull him into the room. Hello, Cowutopia, and GG.
Hey, man. GG.
So, how
I'm
you feeling?
okay, right? The audio's all right?
Yeah, you
Sound
sound
good
good.
to us.
All right, good. I'm not, like, last time I did an interview, I was coming through double.
Oh
No,
yeah,
you're fine
I
here.
think we've taken care of any echo issues, so you're good, man.
Right.
Yeah, how you feeling about that one?
Not too great. I mean, I wasn't too confident coming into today because there was like a long break, and I've been playing Dark Souls for the first time. So
Nice.
I haven't played any Zelda in like a week and a half, and my execution was all kind of crap. But like, you know, I sequence broke Death Mountain. I was hoping for the mirror or the mitts, didn't find it. Went in the pod dark, didn't find it. Then I found the lamp, you know. And I mean, if we go all the way back, the big problem was I missed my bomb jump going in a spiral, and then I saved and quit out of Hera and didn't go back to spiral because I was like pissed. And then so I got the mirror late, and then I was like, crap. Well, everything's over. Because then I wasted so much time doing all these things that I could have done in one sweep with the mirror check, you know. So, and then it was like, fire rod go mode. That's never happened to me. I figured it was in Ganon's tower, but I was already like whatever at that point. Once I saw the mirror, I was really like, well, that's good.
Yeah, he gave us a little bit of a heart attack in Swamp Palace when you not only turned around from fighting Argus, but also saved and quit before you went to left side.
Yeah, well, I knew the mitts unlocked a ton of stuff, and I was like, man, like, should I continue? Because like I'm looking for some dumb thing now. I just left. I was like, whatever.
And it was really interesting because actually you and Ninban were in that dungeon more or less at the same time. He had just finished and taken Argus out and left and didn't do left side at all.
But then he go moded everything after we found the last thing, right? He go moded into Ganon's tower.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the difference.
But when we hadn't seen left side and we thought, oh man, like what if the flute's over there?
know,
and then you bailed on it. And we were like, no. But then it ended up being in Spike Cave.
Yeah,
anyways.
that was good. So I went up there. It was nice to find the butter. I was like, well, I know where Tempered is, and I was like, oh, butter's right here, so that's nice. And then the flute, and I was like, oh, that's good. But then it was the toss up, right? It's like, are you gonna look for the fire rod, or are you gonna risk double dipping tower? And I was like, well, I'll just clear around. But I lost another race this tournament the same way, where it's like Ice Rod wasn't Turtle Rock, and that's another like 50-50 call, where like you either go to Turtle Rock and hope it's in there, and then if it's not there, you're double dipping. So like I've lost 3 races this tournament, right? One, I didn't go to Turtle Rock, the Ice Rod was in there. One, I did go to Turtle Rock, the Ice Rod wasn't in there. And so, and this time it's like Fire Rods and Ganon's Tower, and I didn't go right away. So that's rando, it happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
But I guess all told, if you finished up 4-3, not going to make the brackets, but I mean, that's a winning record. And as we were just saying before you came on air with us here, that's very respectable, I mean, like it's a big field and you did a great job, man. So how you feeling about your record and your overall tournament performance, I guess? I
feel pretty happy about it. My personal goal was to make brackets, so I just fell short, but I played all right. I had some really good races. I set a PB during the tournament. I had a sub 115. That was awesome. One of the fastest times in the tournament, so I feel good about that.
That's killer.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a great run. It was against Clifford. He finished. Oh, he didn't even finish that match. I forgot. He was he ran out of magic on Ganon and then quit. But he was like 8 minutes behind me. It was such a fast seed. Oh my god. I wish that one was restreamed.
Yeah, right.
But it's been a blast. I'm glad. I didn't really pick up Randomizer until like the fall, so I haven't been racing that long, and this is my first tournament. I had a blast. I think the organizers are great. The commentators do a great job. So I'll be entering again.
Nice.
For sure.
That's excellent.
Great to hear, because it's been an absolute pleasure to watch you play.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Wish you luck next time.
You could see I was fighting it though, man. I was running into everything. I was just running into every enemy, especially from the beginning with the hammer. I was just walking into everybody going like, oh my god, come on.
Hammer's hard to use as your
Not even
primary
that,
weapon.
from the very beginning, the red cane block. I threw it and I missed, and then I walked in all the guards, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a fun night." But it was fun. Thanks for commentating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. It was a great race to watch, so we're glad we got to commentate it.
Yeah, I'm glad it was entertaining, at least for a while. That's good.
Yes, it definitely was.
Word. Yeah, and congrats to Ninban. Good luck on the brackets, dude. He's not here, it looks like, but good luck, dude.
Yeah, he's been in chat.
The chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
talking.
Sweet.
But speaking of the runners, if you enjoyed the show, please consider giving both our runners a follow. They did a great job in this race, and they deserve your support. So if you'd like to see more of them, go ahead, give them a follow. I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
Yeah. I stream 6 nights a week, and I do all sorts of stuff. I do a lot of rando, so if you like it, come on by.
Yeah, well, there you go.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm going to dip.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night. Yeah, that's also going to be it for us for tonight. This was the last randomizer match for tonight. But in just over 6 hours at 6 a.m. Eastern, there is going to be another one. That one's going to be on Speed Gaming between Korek and Hunter Seeker 42, and that is getting restreamed. So if you're up early or late, depending on where you are, go ahead and check that out. That one's going to be good. But until next time, I'm Aaron Doby, and my co-commentator Sabotender and Dusme on tracking. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for hanging out, and play more rando.
Peace.